We better click on this other button here that gets Captain Chaos off, haven't we? I think I had that one on, when I was filming yesterday. We're joined by Kent. Women love him, men want to be him. Isn't that right, Kent?
Well, I don't know about that, but I'll take your word for it.
How's your batting average lately, Kent? Are you still not out? Don't risk it, Kent. You might catch some out. There's a lot of scrubbers about. Scrubbers! No time for scrubbers, Kent. Right. What were we talking about there? Parker, look.
The Kronk style.
The Kronk style, right. Let me just say this, right. The Kronk style, right. Emmanuel Stewart's passed away, a legendary trainer. He invented the Kronk style. Do we agree, yeah?
Yep, absolutely.
Right. So, who at that gym fights like that? Nobody. Now, people go on about the Ingle style, which is a legendary myth. Isn't that right, Flex? It's the Errol Bomber Graham style. Now, Brendan Ingles passed away, but tell me, in recent times, since Johnny Horsecock Nelson retired, who has fought out that gym since 2006 in the Ingle style? Bearing in mind, it's 17 year. Tell me one person in comment section who fought in that Ingle style, meaning Errol Bomber Graham and Johnny Nelson. Oh, none of them. They all have individual styles. Ryan Rhodes was switcher to probably best in gym. Hang on a minute, you. Kelbrook, right? Naz, where's Ingle style in all them, or the Errol Bomber Graham, Johnny Nelson style? They're in. There's two fighters in the Kent.
Yeah, I always remember Isharam Pickering was a decent wee fighter.
Isham Picker ended up delivering tailored clothes for MC Tailoring at Tinsley. Right, but he was a European champion, wasn't he, Isham Pickering? Was he?
Yes.
Right, Isham Pickering, so that's three. Who else? Where's this Ingle style or Obama Graham style? I'm on about after 2006. You might have Isham Pickering, but who else? Ryan Rhodes want a bomb like his style, want like bombers, were it? Neither one has. There's neither one Kell Brooks, and they're three best technicians out at gym. Am I right? Witters want like that, were it? So where's this style? It's a myth. It's
I remember Ingle's, one more
fighting career a myth.
I remember a fighter there, Andrew Facey. Am I right?
Yeah, I remember him. Didn't Ryan Rhodes put him on Button Moon? Sure, Ryan Rhodes put him on Button Moon, did he?
He was the first person to beat. He was the first person to beat. What do you call him? Commentator for Sky, Macklin. He was the first person to beat Macklin.
Yeah, but didn't Ryan Rhodes light him up?
I think he did. Yeah, I think he did.
I'm sure Ryan Rhodes knocked smoke out of him. I'm sure of it. I was sitting on Friday night on Sky. I got no against Andrew Face, but from what I gather at Preston, we were going to do this and going to do that. He did note. He got Spice Boyd. Let me have a look. Ryan Rhodes box rec. Let's have a look, Kent. Look at Ryan there when he had hair. That's when he first came to Lindome. He had hair. We did an exhibition. Let's have a look. Here we are. 46-6 career British Commonwealth European champion. 4-time world title challenger. Andrew Facey. Have a look. Oh, maybe I got it wrong. No,
he lost twice to Jamie Moore.
Who did?
Andrew Facey.
Is that how it were? Yeah, Jamie Moore did him, did he? Yeah, well, Ryan did Jamie Moore, didn't he?
And I actually think I was at one of them fights because one of those fights was at the King's Hall. It was the first fight. Yes, he fought the first time he fought Jamie Moore. It was actually at the King's Hall. It was on a Brian McGee undercard.
Jamie Moore never got a chance to fight for world title, did he? Or WBC #1, wasn't he?
No, no.
Got a chance to fight for it. And you know, Jamie Moore spilt his guts as well. Done Macklin as well, and he fought for loads of world titles, didn't he?
He had a good. I think I don't know what happened, if he failed a brain scan or what happened, but it didn't seem to work out, to work out for him. So it
Jamie
didn't. He was a
Moore,
really good fighter.
twice. Jamie Moore, I still twice.
I remember Jimmy Moore when he turned pro. He was like a southpaw Mike Tyson, they were saying, and I remember he fought, and that it was a brilliant card in
Did he get
Manchester.
one fight or something that shouldn't have been a stoppage, Jamie Moore? They were hell on, weren't they, over it?
Remember, it was the Michael Jones loss. It was a disqualification. The Liverpool guy. They actually hated each other. But I remember
reading about that. I remember reading about that. It were really bad, and they couldn't overturn it or something, could they?
they fought 3 times. They hated each other. But there was this big card that Frank Warren put on at the time, and it was basically Ricky Hatton. It was Jamie Moore. It was all the Manchester crowd. Michael Gomez, and it was in a site. It was in like a velodrome in Manchester. And Jamie Moore was a big favourite, and he fought Scott Dixon. Remember the Scottish fighter, Scott Dixon?
Yeah.
And Scott Dixon stopped him. And it was a massive, massive shock. Then, obviously, Jimmy Moore, he went on a bit of a run after that. He had some good wins. Michael Jonesy beat Gary Logan, Andrew Facey. Then he obviously had those other 2 fights again with Michael Jones, but he had a really, really good career. And you think of fighters that fought for a world title who had lesser careers than Jamie, and it's a shame he actually didn't get a chance to fight for a world title, because he fought some really, really good fighters.
Yeah, yeah. Okay then. Umar IFL. Umar apparently has left IFL. Is his name gonna be Umar TNT Sports Umar? What do you think?
Well, he's got a profile. He's built his profile up. He's got a name,
Ask good questions, doesn't he?
and he's very good. He seems to come across well on camera. He speaks well. He's good synergy with the fighters. So, would you think he could start his own channel? He could go maybe Boxing King Media. It all depends.
That's his own channel. He'll need a few quid in his pocket to do all chasing about or sponsors. Trust me. I couldn't do that, me, chasing about country, chasing all that shower around, having to agree with everything they say and all that. I'd be, you know what would happen? I'm like Tasmania, I have an argument in an empty room, can't I, me? Right? Could you imagine me every day having to deal with that shower? Oh, could you imagine? Even if it were my first day and I'd never ever met any of them or criticised them or given an opinion on that shower, could you imagine me like having to listen to that shower of shit? I won't be able to do it, would I? I couldn't do
You wouldn't have you wouldn't have your own opinion.
No, you wouldn't be able to say you don't allow it out. They daren't say you. You know what I call them? Cowards. That's what I call them. They daren't say bone. They think about that, and they go home at night and sleep like babies. And I'm like, well, what are they? Weak, like Coogan. Everybody knows he don't give an opinion. Why? Grow some knackers. But you see, the problem you've got now is they have to agree with you more, because if they don't, you lose access. So what do you do then? I realised early on that, God, if I were to do that, you'd have to kiss arse. You remember the first ever video I did on Bayloric TV, the first ever one, 8 years ago, when I was working for Dennis. The first ever one, I've been with Dennis about 18 months, and I did a video with Bayloric TV. And he wised me up about loads of things, Ingram Jones, because he had a press pass and they took his off him, didn't they? Because he didn't want to conform. And I was thinking, well, I don't like to conform. You're born naughty, aren't you? I've been a bad seed since I was a kid. Right? And my mum and dad couldn't denote women no matter what they tried. And I thought, well, that ain't going to work for me. I thought, oh, But I thought, well, maybe I could do it. But I was always thinking about motorway miles and kids and what about car pitch? I had a car pitch at the time. I was like, oh, what am I going to do here? I'm juggling this about. I don't think I could do it. But then once I seen it, the nitty gritty, and I watched all the interviews and I studied it, and I realized that they didn't have an opinion, did it? But it took me ages to figure it out. I think it took me about 2 years to really think. Nobody dare say, oh, there, Ken, or go against the status quo, which were at the time Bricktop Monitor and Eddie Hills. And I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could have done. I would have. No, I couldn't. Listen, Ding Dongs used to have with Big Ron, so I'd be at it with all them, wouldn't I?
I went through the same. I was like you, a really, really, really big, massive boxing fan.
Peter Fury is, don't you, with it? He won't give everybody. He don't give everybody access.
No.
He ain't got time for our slickers, has he, and stuff like that. Well, I'm about 50 times worse than Peter, and he's got more patience than me.
I went through the same thing. I would have been a massive boxing fan, loved everything, loved the whole boxing kind of changed around that IFL and that matchroom, reboot as I would call it. And you seen what was going on more backstage, and I loved it for a while. But I started watching all the other channels, and everything became the same. It was the same questions. It was the same answers. It was the same, but everything was generic. It was like one size fits all. And I'm like, I'm fucking getting sick and tired of this. What about this? What about that? What about the fans? And I'll say I was the same as yourself. And now it's just like, I want to be the anti-hero. I want to be somebody I don't really, I'm like yourself. I don't conform to everything. I have my own opinions. I'm not going to fall out with somebody because I have a different opinion. It's just, I have my own opinion on things, and I'm going to be myself.
I had in here earlier. I don't know where it's gone. I had a fries, them chocolate things. Dark I thought I'll have that. Here you go. 2 seconds.
Did Rocky get it?
No. Reggie! Oh. Must be Invisible Man. Invisible Man that's had. Yeah, go on back to that, Ken.
Just sick of it all. And I look at the likes of people on platforms who are getting millions of views and getting places. People like Ari, who has knowledge in boxing, you could actually put in the back of a postage stamp.
Who's that? The Alapido?
Yeah.
He's a rimmer though, isn't he? Like that in the Upham.
I actually
have a
see
YouTube channel and work for his own.
I actually see people near enough falling asleep as he's asking questions. They're so long, but that's the type of people now are getting access. They're getting access not because they love boxing, because it pays their mortgage.
Adi, why don't you ask some proper questions?
Come on here with me.
After your plant pot. You know what I mean?
Then you've got what do you call that? Geordie. What do you call him? True Geordie. He was Tyson Fury's mate for years.
Now.
And all of a sudden he's working for DAZN on Misfit shows. And now all of a sudden he's asking great questions against Fury. He's not asking great questions against Fury because he's a proper boxing fan. It's because he's working for DAZN and Eddie Hearn. So, it's not like,
yeah. So he works for Eddie Hearn.
Was he not on Misfits? Commentating?
Well, one of them all fell out since then, haven't they?
Well, he was still doing it, wasn't he? It was around about that time.
I thought True Geordie, it's called Brian, isn't he?
Don't know.
I think his channel's really good. He's really good in front of camera. Really, he grabs you the first few minutes and keeps you engaged. I think he's really good. Now, I've seen the Fury interview, Where it looked like Fury was sat at home and he went, right, go on, you've got 40 minutes or something, crack on. And it looked like Tyson was having one of them days where he weren't in the mood, right? And if he's like that, he were never going to win. They were never going to end good. So if you ask a prodding question, you see what happens. That's what
he rinsed him. And I have to say, he absolutely rinsed him. I've never seen anybody ask Tyson Fury the questions and the velocity that he did. And what was good about it, the way he did it, he was stone faced and he was patronizing Tyson Fury so much that it was making him so angry. It was savage. So it was absolutely savage.
Well, this is how I look at it, right? Right, that one True Geordie, he's a good interviewer, him, I think. I think he's really good. Now, Tyson Fury, it just depends what mood he gets up in the morning, doesn't it, I suppose? But if you look at the Sky Sports one from yesterday, they asked him a question about Daniel Kinahan, which I were going on about with Andy, and I've said for a few weeks now, they're still involved. They're involved with Saudis, aren't they? Kinahans. They're not just going to have people. What's the word? Tell them what they can and can't do because they've not broken law, have they? If you're a billionaire, right, or whatever millions they've got, and people are saying you can't do this, you can't do that, they're out there. They're going to do what they want. They're just going to be a bit more discreet now, aren't they? You know, Kinahans and that. That's how I look at it. But Tyson Fury didn't like being asked about that, did he? Why is that? You've got no to hide if they're not involved. Why would you tell Sky Sports reporter? Why would you storm off? Why? I look at it. Look, Ken, you've lost your fucking tongue. Really,
I think you know, for you go back to the question 2 years ago, and the whole thing. Thank you for making the fight. You know, when
Thank
AJ,
you, Mr. Eastwood.
it was that all over again. You know, so for going in that spectrum from that to walking out of an interview, you know, it doesn't look great, and it looks like another plodding question that he can't deal with. You know, he just doesn't seem to be able to deal with, instead of just saying something really simple and not letting on, he shows when you ask him a question he doesn't like, he can't deal with it well.
No, what they can't do is anybody being critical. For example, there's no boundaries been set, has there really? You can see that no boundaries have been set around John Fury's kids, how they behave, can't you? We all agree on that, don't we? Right.
Well, some of them.
Right. You ask Tyson a question, right? Maybe Shane, he's pretty well spoken, but you ask Tyson a question, right? If you say, "Oh, Tyson, what do you think about so and so's power?" He'll go, "Here's his git house and knock him out in one round." Now, Muhammad Ali said, "Yeah, the guy's got good power. He's a good fighter. You know, and I look forward to meeting him one day." Show a little bit of respect, wouldn't he? Tyson, vileness just comes out of his mouth, doesn't it? Straight away. Now, you could understand that if you had a CV to shout about, but Jamie McDonald's beat more world champions than him and Richie Woodall. So that's Tyson Fury's CV. That's where he's at. The rest of it's just his mouth and hype and him and IFL bigging him up, Bricktop and all that nonsense.
What annoys me,
CV's any better? You tell me something I don't know.
What annoys me about it is the inconsistency of it all. And we've seen in Saudi, 1 minute he's saying, yeah, he's really humble and he wants to help people and he's, you know, this great person. You're thinking, wow, this is a great guy. Then he'll do an interview an hour later. It's, for instance, Joshua. 1 minute Joshua is a big bum. He's a bodybuilder. He can't fight. He's no chin. He's stiff as a board. Give me those belts back, Wade.
He's off training.
Then 10 minutes later, yeah, AJ, he's a big guy. I respect him. How can you not respect him? Look at the money he's made. You know, he's dangerous. You know, it's going to be a good fight. Then he'll go complete polar opposite. It's like a vacuum. of the complete polar opposite every time. And it gets to this stage now where I don't watch Tyson Fury interviews because you don't know what you're going to get.
Well, if he don't fight Usyk on the 17th of February, right, what are they going to tell us if they don't? Now, if he don't fight him and they put it back, does everybody buy into it all again? Or does it a nailing coffin for boxing fans thinking, you know what, we might as well just watch Tom Aspinall? You know what I mean? Because at least he turns up for his battles and he's respectful and he's a decent kid. And he's been fetched up by his dad, Andy, and there's boundaries been set. You don't hear Tom Aspinall carrying off like that. And he's
Nothing.
I've seen him spar Tyson Fury, Tom. Tom's a 1-0 professional. He's been on my channel. I've met him several times. He's a lovely kid. You know, Tom Aspinall, is he a world champion at the moment? Is he? Or is he interim as well?
He is what they call in the UFC. So the UFC heavyweight champion is John Jones.
Yeah, but isn't he retired or something now?
Well, he's had an operation. He was meant to fight Steve Bay.
Emirates him then, like they do in boxing.
So he was meant to fight Steve Bay Mijatovic, who is a monster at heavyweight. Beat Francis Ngannou. He was the heavyweight champion, I think, 2 or 3 times in the UFC. It's John Jones's first test at heavyweight in the UFC. You know, John Jones's whole career, he's a career light heavyweight. He was John Jones, who now is the UFC champion, was a career light heavyweight. He won the vacant belt against Cyril Gane.
Why didn't you fight Ngannou, that John Jones, if he's heavyweight?
Because Ngannou left the company and left the belt.
So he's not to do with Dana White now?
Nothing. That the relationship between Dana White, Francis Ngannou, and you've got Randy Couture in the background, who helped Francis get out of his contract with the UFC, is like electric and water.
Yeah.
So there is no relationship there. So obviously Jones won the vacant belt against Cyril Gane. He was meant to fight Steve Mijatovic. He's pulled out of that. He's had surgery. A lot of people are saying that they don't fancy John Jones to come back from the surgery. And thus far, it will be basically Tom will be the UFC champion, upgraded champion now.
Tom Aspinall's world champion. Well, we've just got to wait for John Jones to get his shit together, basically. Is that what we're saying?
He's the champion at rest. He's the interim champion.
Well, basically, Tom Aspinall's the man now, then, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, if it was like it would be like it's hard to say, you know, it would be like an interim champion. He's the interim champion until John Jones comes back. And what will happen is they'll fight for the undisputed. But a lot of people are saying that they're a lot more better informed than me, is that they can't see John Jones coming back to fight Steve Bay and then to fight Tom Aspinall.
No?
No.
All right, then let's switch it up here. Because I don't want to get drawn into too much of a debate on UFC, because I think I've only ever met 2 UFC fighters. One of them, a kid called, is it Callum, I think, who Welcome Estates sponsored. He's a Manchester kid. And Tom Aspinall, the only UFC guys I know. I don't really know much about the sport. And I know you do, don't you, Ken? So we'll switch it up to Bricktop ambushing my man, Adam Castro, who I like. What do you back to that?
I think what Frank done was he was like, he seen an opportunity and he took it.
Yeah.
And he knew Adam wasn't going to turn around and say, you know what, Frank, F off. He knew that wasn't going to happen. So that's why he basically did it.
Well, are we not allowed to be critical of people like Frank Warren, how he conducts his boxing business, and how they give us dates, say fights happening, and they pull it, and change it and this and that. Is nobody allowed to have an opinion against these people? Are we just supposed to say, Frank, we're not worthy, you're the greatest every single day? Is that what? Same with Crusher Ben, same with Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, John Fury. Is nobody allowed to be critical? No more. Are we all supposed to tread on eggshells around these people? Because I'm not like that, and I don't like bullies. So when I see bullying, I come on even stronger. If you don't believe me, ask Big John Fury. I silenced him 16 months, and I'll do it again.
I think what happens is they actually aren't smart enough to realize that even though that those people are having an opinion, whether it's a negative opinion, they're still making them relevant. It's still.
If nobody said no about them, they'd be roaring. Listen, I've had people emailing me saying, "Oh, any chance of sticking me in helmets? I feel a bit left out." I'm like, what? I get death threats for people in helmets. You want to be in helmet? I said to Mick Whale once, Mick, what are you going to do if you get helmet votes, Mick? Mick were like, if you ever put me in helmets, I'll be sending our win round to see you. Oh, like, God help Mick don't get helmet votes, because if we got him, I'll stick him straight in. We haven't had any. Things I've won. But
it's actually, they can't even see it, that it's actually giving them, it's actually making them relevant. It means people are listening to it, people are talking about it, and it's giving them that.
Shelf helmets, because too many people crying like little babies. Crying like little babies. At least I'm doing it in front of a camera. You should be grateful. They cost fortune to make. Unbelievable, isn't it? All right, then, let's switch it up again. Crusher Ben and Christopher Eubank Jr. Caller's doing the rounds. He's saying that it's looking like it's dead in water and they're going in a different direction, which is what we said. Julian called it before anybody. So what do you think about that, Ken? Is that fight going to happen, or are they shitting the pants knowing that the ball is firm?
No, it's not going to happen.
Oh, what about that guy failing a dope test, Crusher Ben's opponent, who he's just beat? Where's it end this, or is it some? Is it the testing that Eddie did on the show, and that Eddie's people have found it? Is it them? Did you look into that, Kent?
No, you know what worries me the most about it? Not things now. That fight, they sneaked it off into California. Was it California? That is not even it's not even a Florida, California. Yeah, Florida, California. Same thing.
3,000 miles away.
So for me, they snook it off there in the back door 2 days before the fight. And for me, if you're sneaking in there if that board let Nigel's son fight on that card, what does that say for them? What does that say for that state? So for them, instead to let that happen, now all of a sudden that comes out that he's actually failed a drugs test. That says it all for that body now. Why now are fighters failing drugs tests but still being allowed to fight? Why can the testing not be done before the fight?
I don't know, but this is how I look at it. Crusher Ben slipped into Florida through cat flap, didn't he? Not the back door. Through the cat flap, didn't he?
He literally crawled in.
Maury, Kent.
Oh, he's woeful.
He slipped in through cat flap as well into Saudi. How did he get on? Because they're matching him up with
Hrgovic,
aren't they? Hey?
It's the only Hrgovic's the guy. He's Croatian. Mark Demore actually lives in Croatia. So apart from that, what on earth is Mark Demore doing in the same ring as Filip Hrgovic? Mark Demore is the guy that learned how to box off YouTube.
Yeah, I did. No, listen, this is
but you're not fighting flipping Filip Hrgovic.
Yeah, I know. I was fighting sleep at the moment, I think. No, Ergovic, right, they're going to pad him out, aren't they? So he keeps the belt because he's Callum and Eddie's man. They're going to pad him out and they're going to wait until they can get Joshua in with him and get him a big payday. And then Callum's going to get paid. Eddie's going to get paid because they bring the Joshua big machine with them, don't they? Ergovic. So this is how I think it goes out. Joshua knocks Wally out, all beats him on points. And he fights Ergovic for IBF. Callum and Eddie get paid. Joshua then has a belt. He's a world champion. He's got more to go to the table with when he wants to fight Wilder, get a bigger slice, or Usyk again for the third fight if Usyk beats Fury, or if Fury don't retire Fury. So Joshua needs something to bring to the table, not just a tin of fucking spam. Do you see where I'm coming from? You know what I mean?
I see where you come from because I can't see anybody having the money to put basically Wilder and Joshua together and Fury Usyk. The money that would take, and the money that what would plus 4 or 5 other undercard fights. How much would they charge us for pay-per-view for that?
40
Be near
quid.
100.
40 quid.
Nowhere near. I would say close to. You're talking 80 odd quid.
You reckon?
Yeah, yeah. Well, America, they're paying near $100.
People would pay it. Would you?
I think they would gamble it because
highlights, surely.
Well, they're going to want. Listen, if they're paying that money out for Usyk, Fury, and for Wilder and Joshua and the same card, that's a lot of payout money.
Yeah. Yeah, isn't it? It's a lot of dough. Go on then, we've got about 8 minutes. Do you want to go to Katie Taylor, Chantel Cameron, Kent?
What do you think, Russell?
I think Katie Taylor on points and they do a third one. And Cameron screams blue murder, robbery. And I want a third go. And I think everybody's happy. I don't think Jamie Moore and Nigel Travis will be bothered. They're going to get another slice at cake, aren't they, to go for a third one? That's probably what they want because there's nowhere else for her to go. She beats Taylor. Who is the third to fight unless she steps up, fights Terry Harper at 154.
There's no money in that.
And Terry Harper won't want to go with Chantel Cameron, even though she's a smaller weight at the moment because she's a big puncher, isn't she?
There's no money in that.
What, when you Cameron against Terry Harper?
None.
Of course, they could do it at Donny Rovers' ground. Surely.
You look at the last 2 matchroom cards that she's been on. They've been empty, Russell.
Whose matchroom cards? Terry,
yeah.
Have they? What cards were they?
Her last fight there was
I
nobody
thought
at it.
they were called Terry Ticket Seller. Is that wrong, Ken?
I listen. If Eddie Hearn told me it was Friday,
Steffi, you not been buying any of them tickets no more to make out she's a ticket seller. You ran out of dough. So Terry Harper doesn't sell thousands of tickets. I thought she were like Ricky Hatton at South Yorkshire.
Well, you look at. Well, we'll go back in this.
It's a bit like when they were saying Dave Allen were a big draw, wasn't it? Dennis were like, Dave Allen's a big draw.
Okay, well, two years ago in Sheffield, right? You look at Sheffield used to be a real hotbed for boxing. 2 years ago, Kid Galahad get knocked out by Kiko Martinez. Terry Harper got knocked out by Alicia Baumgardner, and it was empty. Nobody there.
2 men and a dog there.
Nobody.
Then he's not been back to Sheffield since.
What's that? Sorry, Russell?
Not been back to Sheffield since, has he?
No. And you said that. But I can see, to be honest with you, I think it's going to be really hard for Taylor to win tomorrow night. I think Cameron's a really good lead hand fighter. She's a really good jab. She punches off her lead hand very, very well. Jab, the head. She hooks well off the lead hand to the body and the head. She's a really, really strong fighter. She 2 weight classes up on Katie. And for what Chantel has to do to beat Katie is simple. just straight punches with lead hand, where Taylor will need to do an awful lot. She'll need a lot of physicality to win that fight. And I think I'm going to go. I would love Katie Taylor to win. Don't get me wrong, but it was such a. I had Cameron by 4 rounds the last time.
All right then, Ken. Is Sheffield's bad for boxing now for fans? Why is that? Is that because there's no stars at there? Well, Dominic hasn't really got any stars now, has he? Ingle.
I didn't even think Dominic had any pros anymore.
No, all Dominic does now is walk around in a body warmer talking to that copper, Gully from Boxing King Media. Although he does ask good questions. But you're a copper, end of the day, a self-policeman with a camera, you prick. So, but he asks good questions. So Dominic just walks around munching on a stick of celery all day with his body warmer, talking about Kell Brook's comeback at 38-year-old. Because we are, Kell Brook is not even relevant, is he? Flexi, baby. Billy Joe made him relevant, didn't he? Oops. Billy Joe made him relevant. I'll give that one to Rocky. It's been on the floor. I must go down. I can't help causing bollocks. Should we roast Dennis this week or next week? I feel like a big Ron roast coming on. Or isn't he worth airtime now? What do you think?
I don't know, Russell. Has he
Dennis,
had any shows?
Great.
Has he even had any shows?
I don't know. He's putting one on at Cayman Islands. He were going to put one on the yacht when I fell out with him a few years back. It was, you what? Yeah, we've got Josh Whale on a yacht, WBF featherweight. What do you reckon? I'm like, huh?
WB was it a WBF interim belt?
No, it was a WBF full-on world title, I think. Something like that.
Or was it a Commonwealth silver belt?
No. WBF, Ken. You need your heroes cleaning, Ken. WBF.
What about that Commonwealth silver belt he promoted there the other week?
Listen, well, that's what we used to do though in day, when we were bored. We used to talk about inventing belts. I said, oh, that'll need a belt. Don't worry, we'll get a belt. What, a snake belt? No, we'll get one. Next, it'll be, well, you got Cash Alley one. He goes, oh, I've got Cash Alley a belt. I went, what? Yeah, IBF European. I was, well, same as Tommy Franks. He went, yeah. I went, oh, right, that's brilliant, Dennis, isn't it? He went, yeah, he's a champion, a European champion, and telling people, Cash Alley, what European champion? I went, IBF.
Well, brutal.
But bless him, Dennis. He's a trier, isn't he? He blagged it, didn't he, basically, but got fun out, didn't he? Sorry about that, Ron. Right, Ken, should we do part 3?
Do you want to?
Yeah, we'll do a part 3. Oh, I got that. Right. Join us on part 3. Hot band.